Hey there YouTube, Rob Brindler here. I'm continuing on with my book reviews, and this time it's not Danny Wallace. It is in fact two movie adaptations, one by a novel by Sean Hudson and another one by someone called Randall Frakes, and they are the movie adaptations of possibly one of the greatest two films ever, Terminator 1 and 2. These are fundamentally different, especially Terminator 1. For instance, a lot of the scenes are far more detailed than we got in the film. They are still equally as awesome, and to be fair, it puts, well, for instance, Terminator 3, which I personally think should have been nicknamed Carry On Terminator because it was so shite. Terminator 4 was okay. I did buy a copy. I actually burnt my copy of Terminator 3 and then threw it out the window after, but we won't stick to that. Terminator 1, everyone seems to know about that one, but if you haven't seen it, it's a story about a young lady called Sarah Connor who, back in 1985, works as a waitress. She's about 19 years old in the book. That's the cover for it, in case you want to check it out. She's about 19 years old. Then one day, whilst going out, she meets up with a man called Kyle Reese, who comes to rescue her from Arnold Schwarzenegger, who has been sent back in time to kill her because, as it turns out, Sarah Connor is actually the mother of the future leader of the human resistance against the machines, who are basically being controlled by a machine called Skynet, which is like a giant computer, which is in NORAD, which is in America. And then it's about how they get round, to try and get away. Kyle is trying to convince Sarah that he's not nuts, and it ends up with a big fight at the end between Sarah and the Terminator, because Kyle gets killed trying to protect her, not after he gets her up the duff. And then obviously the Terminator gets destroyed. Then follows on a few years later to Terminator 2, as I pointed out. Terminator 2 is the continuation of the film. Because the first Terminator failed, Skynet decides to send a new Terminator back in time called the T-1000, which is made of liquid metal, and it can assume the shape of any form within reason. So things like guns and explosives have chemicals and moving parts. It can't make them, but it can make things like claws, daggers, that sort of stuff. Anything that's solid, but it's weapon based. At the same time, the Resistance sent back Arnie, but a reprogrammed one to be John's protector, because at this point he's probably about 10 years old, although the film states that he was born 9 years before, so how they've done that one I don't know. And it also turns out that he was actually sent back at the same time as the first Terminator in the first film. Bit of a continuity error, but you do seem to understand it. They are thoroughly brilliant books. I recommend you find them on eBay because they're out of print now. If not, I will see what I can do, but I haven't tried typing them up because I'm not that bored. But if you can find them, get them, read them, enjoy them, and I'll be back later. Yes, I realise what I just said.